Our next inductee is Mr. Jeff Vezain. During his time at OTHS, Vezain participated in track and basketball. He was a co-captain of the 1990 to 1991 varsity boys basketball team. After graduating from OTHS in 1991, Vezain received a Bachelor of Arts degree in English from Northern Illinois University in 1996, where he also performed with the University Chorus, Vocal Jazz Group, Jazz Combo Program, and University Big Band. Vezain has performed professionally in a wide variety of artistic endeavors as a singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, actor, and dancer. Over the past 20 years, he has performed with numerous bands from Chicago and Los Angeles. He has appeared in national television commercials, print ads, and lent his voice to radio spots. A drummer as well as a guitarist, Jeff was a finalist in his audition for the part of Blue Man in the hit theatrical show Blue Man Group. Vezain is currently a member of the Lieutenant Dan Band, one of the nation's most recognized military support performance groups. The band was originally formed by Kimo and Gary Sinise and was named for the character Sinise played in the Oscar award-winning film Forrest Gump. Vezain has served as lead singer of the band in over 500 shows, performed in more than a dozen countries on more than 150 military bases, the United States Capitol, and the Grand Ole Opry. The Lieutenant Dan Band is one of the nation's most recognized military support performance groups and was heavily involved in the building of the American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial in 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeff Vezain.
Can I do this? Is that, where's our... Do we have a sound guy? Is this going to mess you up terribly? I just, force of habit, I'm sorry. I got to hold this thing. Man, that sounds way more impressive coming out of Kane's mouth. I really, like on paper, it's like, yeah, you know. But hearing you say that, I'm like, wow, did I do all that? I don't know. Yeah, this is really an extreme honor. And I'm just... It feels even more significant now that I'm in it. Oh, you just adjusted the mic. Okay, I got you. Are we good? I can hear that. I don't know where you are, but I'm with you. Yeah, and I really am just so pleased to be able to serve as a great example of just how far you can get on good hair and charisma. I'm sort of joking. I just want to jump in here and thank the Ottawa Township High School Educational Foundation for choosing to recognize me. And I also want to congratulate the OTHS Educational Foundation on curating this group of honorees, because truly, this is an amazing incoming group for 2026. I mean, when I got the roster, and I was like reading down everybody's list of accomplishments, I was just blown away, just more and more impressed, to the point where I was like feeling a little intimidated, a little insecure. It was like, Dr. Martin Sheen, surgeon, and then just a list of amazing accomplishments. Dr. Kim Novak, valedictorian, groundbreaking veterinarian, list of amazing accomplishments. Dr. Richard Martin. I'm like, I'm detecting a pattern here. I think it was about that point that Sesame Street song popped into my head. I was like, one of these things is not like the others. One of these things does not belong. But anyway, I shook it off, and I was like, okay. Gail Landers was like, oh, thank God he's not a doctor. But, outstanding athlete, successful award-winning CEO, entrepreneur. I'm like, that doesn't help. That does not help my imposter syndrome. But, at least with a state championship tournament or achieving football team, like the achievement is distributed among more people. It's like, it's a little easier on the psyche. But all kidding aside, this is an amazing group, and I'm humbled, and I'm really honored to be being inducted with this remarkable group of overachievers. So congrats to my fellow inductees, and it's a pleasure to be sharing and this occasion with you. I wrote all this stuff down, and I didn't even take it out of my pocket. I probably should. I usually just kind of speak and memorize, and then, I was told, oh, there's a podium. So I was like, well, all right, I'll use the podium. I'll write stuff down. But it's, out of my usual. So I just want to, I'm really excited to acknowledge and thank the two people who nominated me for this. I don't know if they're here, but that would be Sue Williamson. Oh, yay, she's here. And Roger Am. Is Roger here? Well, Sue Williamson's here. It is just an honor to be nominated by those two particular people. I don't know how many of you know them, but if you do, you'll kind of understand why that is such an honor. And if you don't, all I can say is it would kind of be like if tomorrow you learned you were nominated for some prestigious award, independently by both, Betty White and the Dalai Lama. It's like that level of honor. So, Sue Williamson was my freshman English teacher, one of those teachers who, you can't help but instantly like. When I think back on that class, I just picture her. She always has a smile on her face, always has, just genuinely enthusiastic about the subject, about her students, but, was best known as the head of the theater department here and directed all the school plays, I think upwards of 80 plays here on this stage in this auditorium, and, was just universally loved by all her students and just kind of like a surrogate theater mom to all of them, and fun and funny, but, smart and grounded as well. And Roger Am was kind of the parallel to that in the music department. He is beloved and, just one of the most acclaimed and most accomplished educators this school's ever seen. And I think it was Kimo that was talking about the prowess of the music program in here. And a lot of that is due to Mr. Am. I think he took his choir. He was the choir director here for 32 years. I think he took the choir to state and won, I think, like 17 years in a row. It was crazy. And the shocking irony of all of it is that when I was here, I didn't participate in either of their worlds. I was never in a school play, and I never sang in choir. Because at that time, I was a serious athlete, so I just spent hundreds of hours in Kingman Gym shedding literal blood, sweat, and tears, with Coach Vansel. And I just, at that time, it was very intense, and it was kind of like being in the military, but not just. It was like if you were special forces. That's the best way I can describe it. And I knew I could not coexist in both of those worlds simultaneously. It's only after I left high school that I kind of shifted focus toward music, and then ironically reached out to Mr. Am over the summer. I was like, maybe I'll audition for the music program, and he went out of his way and helped me prepare an audition, and I gave it my best. It didn't work out. I just didn't have the technical skills at that time. I'm sure he was thinking, well, if you would have joined choir, and he wouldn't be wrong. But in spite of all of that, those are the two people who nominated me, so it just makes it all the more meaningful. So I thank them both and, applaud them. And I need a sip of water. So the most thanks, the most credit, the most everything goes to this person without whom I would never have gotten here. I wouldn't be here at all, literally, because that's talking about my mom. And, I think might have been Richard who was talking about moms, earlier, and just the importance that they play in your life. And, it was my mom. When I was born, she heard a voice that said, "Sing to your child." She's like, "What? Sing to your child." And she's like, "Okay." And she did, and those were my earliest memories, and that's how I learned to sing, and it just became a thing I loved to do. And but aside from just kind of setting the pattern for my life, she was always there doing the good mom things. She was a guide and a cheerleader and a defender and a drill sergeant when I needed it, and just always had an instinct for nudging me in the right direction. And it was her that when I left here and went to Northern Illinois University, she drove me up for move-in day and helped me load some stuff into the dorm. And just before she got in the car and drove away, she was like, the music building is all the way on the other side of campus, straight down Lucinda Avenue. I suggest you take a walk down there. Go inside, find some people, tug on some shirt sleeves and ask some questions, get involved. I was like, I was kind of lost at that. I'm like, okay, maybe, And she left, and the next day I did exactly that. And as it turned out, that was the thing that just pushed the first domino that created a sequence of dominoes that led to everything that's happened today. So, and I just also want to say publicly, in 2019, my great love, my soulmate, Suzanne Wong, passed away. 2024, my dad passed, and I'm now in a place where it just feels devastating to even remotely consider the notion of my mom not being around, which is why I'm so grateful that she is, and I cherish every moment that I get to spend with her, and also with, and this is a story I wish I had time to tell, her high school sweetheart, now husband, and like a father to me, Ed Stash. And they're both here, and I just want to say thank you, I love you, and you're obligated to live forever. I'm sorry. Where am I? Oh, I'm sure she's not here, but I would have to mention Mrs. Ryan, music teacher, Mrs. Mary Ryan. When I was in kindergarten, it was her first year. It was both our first years, 1978. I was kindergarten. She was the new music teacher, and right away, right in the beginning of the year, Charlene Groby's kindergarten class in McKinley School, she just was like, this little blonde kid seems to really like singing, which I did because of my mom. And she just came up to me after class and was like, I'd really like you to sing a song at the school Christmas assembly. I'm like, okay. And I'll never forget walking in there, and 5 years old, and the gym's packed with kids just sitting in neat rows on the hardwood floor, cross-legged, and they rolled in an overhead projector and turned off the lights in the gym. It was pitch black, and turned on the overhead projector as a spotlight, and just standing there in this blinding white light and singing 9 verses of Mary Had a Baby. And something happened in that moment. I was kind of terrified, but kind of exhilarated, and just felt like there was no place I'd rather be. And I was like, I could do this forever. And 47 years later, I kind of have. And when I was home in November for a few days, when they had announced this, and her daughter, Julie Ryan, messaged me and was like, hey, I just want to say congratulations, Mom's so proud. And I was like, hey, I happen to be in town. How's your mom doing? Like, would she be up for a visit? Can I come say hello? And she was like, oh, she would love that. But, we live in Bloomington now, and I know it's a drive, and, maybe we could do a phone call. I was like, no, I'll drive down. So I drove down to Bloomington, and I got to see her in person, and just tell her, I was like, I just had to come here and tell you, like, you gave me my first gig, and it's been my life. She's like, I don't think anyone's ever just told me thank you before. I'm like, well, I don't know how many people, you give their first gig, and that becomes their livelihood. But Mrs. Ryan was extremely important. And lastly, I just want to talk about this school and this community a bit. In the past 20 years, as I've been traveling around the world with Gary Sinise and Lieutenant Dan Band, I've just gotten such an outpouring of love and support from this community. There really is that small town pride, and that sense of hometown boy does good, and I'm just so appreciative of it. I feel it, and it's interesting. A huge number of the people that I hear from are former teachers and classmates, and so in a way, it all ties back to this school. And growing up as a kid, this school was kind of the epicenter of so many things in my life. Just academically, artistically, socially, and even geographically. Just where this school sits. It's like a fine gem, just set perfectly in the nook of these two rivers. And it's like the gateway to the east side. You see it coming over Veterans Memorial Bridge. It just looms large in my consciousness. And so many of my formative experiences, so much of what launched me into the world happened right here. I think it's just so appropriate that I'm on this stage having this experience, because it was on this stage when, for the first time when I was 7 years old, I sang with another hometown celebrity, Bob McGrath from Sesame Street. I was standing right about there, and that was just the first of many performances that happened throughout my childhood on this stage. I did production of South Pacific in junior high. And then once I got to high school, every year, the Fine Arts Festival, I just lived for it. It was just like I just tolerated the whole year to get to Fine Arts Week. And then everything fell away. And for 1 week, I just lived on this stage or backstage, either performing myself or just curating the other acts. And it didn't matter. I just loved being in here. I loved the energy. I loved everything that was happening. And I don't know. All these years later, I just, out these doors and up that staircase, you go to 900 and across the hall was Bill Meyer's creative writing class. And when I was a senior, he had us do this assignment. He had us write a letter to ourselves 20 years in the future. And, we did it right there in class, and he gave us an envelope, and we wrote it, and then we put it in the envelope and stamped it, put the address on it, just where we thought we might best be reachable in 20 years, like our parents' address. And the idea was he was going to hold on to them and in 20 years, drop them in the mailbox. Now, I never did receive that letter, and if anybody knows Bill, maybe they can ask him, like, Jeff Vezain wants to know what happened to those letters. But I don't remember exactly everything I wrote in that letter, but I do remember one line very specifically. And it was near the end, and I just said, whatever else, you better still be doing something related to music. And then I think I added something very quintessentially teen boy, like, or I'll kick your ass. Funny thing about that is, like, 52-year-old me could totally kick 17-year-old me's ass. Like, 17-year-old me did not know that 52-year-old me would have spent some time in a boxing gym and actually acquired some fighting skills. It wouldn't even be a fair fight. But the beauty is that 17-year-old me wouldn't even have to try. 17-year-old me would just be awestruck. I don't think 17-year-old me would have even believed that any of this was possible, that our picture would be going up on a wall in this high school. So, I don't know how big of an impact, my photo on a wall in the school is going to make. I imagine most kids will probably just walk right by and not even notice, and if they do glance up, they'll just be like, man, look at all these old geezers. But, I like to imagine that maybe, there might be just one oddball student, because I was kind of that oddball student who'd stop and peruse those photos. And I know that if that were me, I would gravitate to my photo and be like, huh, look at this guy. One of these things is not like the others. It's like, wow, how'd he get there? He's from here, really? Yeah, maybe I could do something like that. And, if I could be an inspiration like that to one kid, that's great, But maybe I'm just dreaming, but, I'm a powerful dreamer. I'm not an extraordinary talent. To go back to that good, better, best quote, which I love, you start from ordinary circumstances. Somebody said that. And I am excruciatingly ordinary, just in terms of my God-given abilities. But I have this weird, stubborn, just insistence. And I'm a powerful dreamer, and I feel like I've dreamed this whole life into existence. And I'm not done yet. I still have a few more things I wish to dream into existence. And I'd like to think that maybe someday they'll have to take my plaque down to modify it, just make a little addendum, and then put it back up. But, If not, yeah, this is more than enough. Thank you.